All right, we are here at Mountain Ridge with Coach Andre Ashton. Thanks for being here. You're done with your first season. And now that you've had some time to reflect and distance yourself from the end of the season, what kind of stands out to you as what happened this year with your team, especially given the newness of Mountain Ridge High School in general and the awesome season that you guys had?
It was just fun, right? Obviously, winning's fun, and having just a little bit more success on the court led to just some more moments and more things happening for us. But overall, it was just fun. It was also new, right? I've been coaching basketball for 13 years now, and it was just a new position, a new setting for me. So it was just a lot of fun to take that next step up, go with the group that we had and just go play and see what we could do. But overall, I would say it was just such a fun season. Had a lot of extra energy, a lot more enthusiasm, it seemed like. So it was a good year.
And your first year as a varsity head coach here, reflecting on this first season, what do you think that you absolutely nailed and you did really, really well? And then what are some things that you, if you could go back, you wish you would have tweaked a little bit?
I think things that we nailed is relationships with the kids. That's one thing. I think it's really, really hard for kids to play well for you if they don't think that the personal side is there. So I think we did a good job with that. And that was built through all our spring and summer and fall stuff that we would do, to where I think there was a trust there that led to the kids' success and helped them just a little bit more. So I think our coaches did a really good job of that. And truthfully, that's not necessarily my personality, is to get to know everyone in the program. And I'm a little bit more behind the scenes, where some of my other assistant coaches are more outgoing and they love to talk to parents and communicate with the kids and, you know, just do those other things that matter. But that's something that I had to do this year, where I would get to know them just a little bit more, and I would communicate with them more, not even about basketball, just about life stuff and things that they're doing, maybe a job, are they going on a mission, little things like that. So I just think it led to a better understanding of everyone and more of a trust on the court. So I think we did a really, really good job of that. Looking back at things, there are obviously some coaching things I think we would have done a little bit different. One game is that I sit at and look at is the Riverton game.
Yeah.
I mean, why am I letting Beckham Reese dribble 94 feet without two people on him at least to maybe see if we can get the ball passed to somewhere else, and then if it gets back to him, oh well, it gets back to him. But there's little coaching decisions that you kind of kick yourself in the butt for. But overall, I think it was a really good year.
Yeah, and again, coaching against you guys, I was really impressed with you as a coach and your team. So that was really fun to be a part of. And one of our coaches, so Evan Miro, had a question for you is, what is the hardest transition jumping from JV to varsity as a coach?
Yeah, I think the hardest thing is actually the spring and summer, getting those organized, because it's a lot. It's not easy, but during the season, it's just what you've been built up to do. You know, you handle tryouts, you go through tryouts, you make your team, you have the parent meeting, and then, you know, the season starts and you're going, and you're just kind of naturally flowing into things and getting things going. But the spring and summer stuff for me was just like, oh, this is way more work than what I thought it was going to be. I've been a part of those for years, obviously, with Coach Briggs and the people that the teams that I've been a part of. But I've never had to organize it. I've never had to just make sure that we're covered here, we're covered there, making sure people are paying for those tournaments. Just little things like that. And it may sound, it may not be the answer that maybe Evan was looking for, but truthfully, those spring and summer things were harder than what I thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
And just organizing all those.
You mentioned Scott Briggs. He's a legend in Utah high school basketball. So what was it like coming up kind of under him and being under his tutelage, we'll call it that?
Yeah.
And what have you taken from his coaching style, and then what do you feel like you've kind of adapted as your own?
Coach Briggs is the best. I've played for good coaches. I played basketball, obviously, and then I played baseball growing up. Actually went and played college baseball at CSI for a couple years, and Coach Briggs is my favorite coach I've ever played for. Like, he's my favorite. From him, there's always ways you can go about being a head coach. In his opinion, in my opinion, I think there's two ways. You can be either really young and go and get kind of any job that you want and kind of use it as a ladder or a little bit of a stepping stone, and you get a little bit lower of a job, and you kind of build yourself up. You start building your resume that way. You show that you can run a program and develop a team and get kids ready to play. And then, another job opens up, and maybe you take that next step up to that next level. Or my route, what I did is I was an assistant coach for 13 years. I coached under Coach Briggs. I was able to kind of be in that inner circle, and anything that he was involved in, he had me involved in. I remember being up at the University of Utah, and Larry Kristoviak was trying to recruit Jordan Loveridge, and this was my very first year of being a coach. And Coach Briggs invited me up there, and it was like, oh, this is what it's like. Like, this is pretty cool. And he's trying to talk to Coach Briggs to get Jordan Loveridge to come up there, and just I was just a part of all of that. So the one thing I really, really learned from him was how to run a program. Right? I didn't have to do it on my own. I didn't have to go out and figure that out and learn to do it by failure in a way. And then the next job that I took, like, okay, I'm going to do this differently. And then you kind of build it up. I got to sit back and watch and be around good coaches and good people and just see how much respect people had for them and how you should run a program the right way. And that's just the route that I took. One or the other is not the right way to go. That's just what I decided to do, and it helped me a lot, truthfully. Just seeing how much respect people have for him, how he treated his players, obviously basketball strategy and things like that. But even outside of basketball, his athletics class that he ran, it's not basketball or weightlifting all the time, right? It's competition, it's games, it's building relationships, it's communicating with kids. So I just got to sit back and watch that, and it's something that I'm for sure forever grateful for.
Yeah, so 13 years as his assistant. So that means were you at West Jordan, then Harriman, and then here?
Yep. So I followed him the whole time. I had some job offers in there, but it just didn't work. I had a couple, and it's kind of funny. Like, some of these kids, where I've been in their situation with pretty much everything. As a player, I've been a player to where I don't get the playing time maybe that I want, and you've got to grind through it that way. I've been a player to where I play 32 minutes a game, my senior year. I've been on college baseball teams where I'm not having the success that I think I should have, and so you've got to work your way through that. I've interviewed for jobs before, and I haven't got them, basketball jobs. I've interviewed for jobs, and I have got them, but just because the teaching schedule or just certain circumstances didn't work out, I told them no. So it's just I've been in these situations with these kids, so I feel like it's a good way for me to relate to them. When things don't necessarily go your way.
Yeah, that's great. And Mountain Ridge, I think, is 7 years old.
This was year 7 for Mountain Ridge.
Year 7.
Yep, year 7.
And so it's your first year. And prior to this year, Mountain Ridge had only had one winning season as the basketball team. And then this was their second winning season. And it's by far the winningest season in program history. So take me through that. What was that like as a coach to experience that? What was it like as your players? How did you get everybody all riled up? And that was actually a question here, is kind of what sparked the historic season and fired up your team from Valor, the service dog?
I truly don't think I can take much credit for that. It's about the players that we have here, because at the end of the day, when the ball's tipped up and the game gets going, coaches have an impact, obviously, but it's all about the players, and they truly get all the credit for it. That's not anything against any former players that we've had. It just all kind of came together with this group and style of play and the type of leadership that we had. Going in through the summer and spring, I knew a strength of this team was shooting. And so I told them, I said, we're going to shoot. And it was just about trying to find that fine line of what's a good shot and what's a bad shot, but also with letting them know, like, I want you to shoot. Like, we need you guys to shoot. It's a strength of this team. And obviously that happened. We made more three-pointers than we ever have in school history. That's a good thing. We were a 45% three-point shooting team this year, which is pretty remarkable from the three-point line. We set records for most points scored, most region wins, most wins in a season. We've never been to the University of Utah, and we were able to do that finally and get a little bit of a taste of that. And I think that's so important for your program to finally get to that next step to where you are playing on the bigger stage, and you can see that the game changes there a little bit. It's way more physical, and now your kids get to see, like, this is how we need to play in order to get there, and then we need to take another step to win there.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a compilation of all of those things. Change sometimes is a good thing, right? And that's not when I leave here. There's probably going to be some energy, or whether that's me leaving of my own choice or me leaving due to someone else's choice. There's going to be some enthusiasm for someone new coming in, most likely. So I just think all of that kind of played a little bit of a factor. There was some extra energy, new coaching staff. These players know that Mountain Ridge has never been to the University of Utah, so there was a little bit of a chip on their shoulder to get there. You know, in the 6 years that we've been here, I've never had a team that stays after practice and shoots more and plays more and is just in the gym. There would be times when, you know, practice ends at 3:30, 3:45, and I'm doing stuff on my own, and I leave an hour later, and there's kids playing 21 or, you know, not necessarily just working on their game, but just being around everyone and in the gym and not wanting to go home, and all of that stuff just truly plays a factor, I think.
It's interesting you bring up defining good shot and bad shot, and that's a struggle I think all coaches have with their teams. But you have some really good shot makers and shooters that can make more difficult shots. So we'll phrase it that way. So how did you go about, I don't know, reining them in, but also letting them be free when you have someone like Dylan Hatton who can shoot and make tough shots? You have the Horsleys, you have Langston, you have like a lot of good players that can make those difficult shots, but what was that defining of maybe a gold, silver, bronze shot?
Yeah, and that truly is probably the hardest thing, right? I think it's easy to teach them, not easy, but I think your strategy or offensive spacing or your plays, right? That all kind of comes with coaching and just your daily, everyday practice. But really, really kind of executing what's a good shot and what's a bad shot, I think your role on the team plays a big factor. It may not be fair, but it is what it is. Everyone doesn't have the same role. And that's just the reality of the situation. When you sign up to play sports or you make a team, you want certain people shooting more than others. It's just about playing those numbers. And for us, you know, Jordan Horsley, he can shoot an NBA three, right? He just can. There's others on our team that can't. It doesn't mean it's going to be perfect every time, and it may not be fair to those kids, but it's just about defining roles, making sure that they know what their strengths are. Right? If their strength maybe isn't shooting threes at as good of a percentage as others on the team, well, what is their strengths? What ways can they help impact our team and help our team win? So that's one thing that I love basketball so much, where I think it's like probably the best sport out there. Shooting baseball, if I'm playing left field, I go 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, and I don't have a ball hit to me that day, I didn't do anything. You know, I didn't really do anything. If I'm having an off shooting night in basketball, I can still defend and rebound. Right? I can communicate. I can do things on the defensive end. I can help my team win in other ways than just scoring. And that's why basketball is awesome, truthfully, and one of the best sports. But it's with defining shot selection, it just comes in practice every day. And I think it just works itself out throughout the season to where early on, you have kids that think, okay, everyone can do these things. And maybe that's the case in game 1 and game 2. But now you come back from break, you start working in practice, and you start defining for individual players what's good for them and what's not good for them. What's a strength for them and maybe what's a weakness for them. And it's kind of a ever-revolving process throughout the season.
Yeah, it's funny because we had conversations with our team, too, around good shot, bad shot. And sometimes we would get pushback of, Coach, I can make that shot. And for me, it was like, a good shot isn't a shot that you can make. It's a shot that you routinely make at a very high percentage, right? And so to take it to an extreme, I've made a full court shot before in my life, so I can theoretically make it. But percentage-wise, that's still not a good thing for me to just start chucking up full court shots.
Kind of our rule of thumb. So we have a shot chart, right? Like a 4 is a layup, a 3 is an open shot, a 2 is a contested shot, a 1 is a bad shot, and a 0 is a turnover, basically on the offensive end. So a lot of the times what we end up doing is going through a half, and we get the averages of those. So let's say we have 20 possessions in a half, and our total shot selection score is 12.
Yeah.
So you divide 12 by 20, it ends up coming back at, and maybe you'll need to cut this out. I don't know if my math is right on this, but it comes back 1.2, right? I'm just using that as an example. So on average, we are averaging 1.2 per possession. That's not good, right? That means that we are shooting highly contested shots or turning it over quite a bit. If you can get above that 2.5 mark for us, for our shot selection scoring system, we're good with it, because I do believe that our kids can make those consistently. But then that also goes with individuals, right? Because certain individuals can, a tough contested shot for them is not the same as a tough contested shot for a different individual on your team. So it is such a fine line with shot selection, but you need to have kids that can make tough shots in order to win.
Do you have those formal role conversations with your players of, these are good shots for you, this is your role on the team, whether that's shooting, rebounding, defensive stopper, that type of stuff? What do those conversations look like?
Yeah, for sure we do. And they're not the same for everyone else, where let's say three-point shooting is not necessarily a strength of theirs. I always like to start the conversation with giving them compliments, like things that they are really, really good at, right? Listen, we put you on the other team's best offensive player, right? Like that is your role every night. You're going to kind of be our defensive guy. Like we want you really, really concentrating on that. On the offensive end, listen, if your feet are set and you're open, right? Like and you're wide open, absolutely, I want you shooting threes. Like you got to be able to knock those down. If someone has a hard closeout on you, or if someone is within an arm's length or an arm and a half, well, we're looking for shot fakes and then penetration. We're looking for shot fakes and kicks, because to be honest with you, like those aren't necessarily the shots that we want you shooting in that moment. Is it going to be perfect? No, it's not going to be perfect. Like, and we're gonna live with those situations. But if it starts to kind of become a habit to where you are shooting those shots that we don't want you to shoot, we really only have one option, right? So it's just playing within the system and within what your team and your coaches need you to play. Because like I said, there's other ways to impact the game. You don't just need to make threes to impact the game, right? You can attack the rim, you can jump stop and kick for threes. And that play is the same thing for us, right? We scored. Doesn't matter who scores, it's how we score.
Are those conversations you have with them about their roles with parents, or are they just with the players? And then do other players know the other players' roles?
Yeah, so just with players.
Okay.
I've never had a role meeting with a parent.
Okay.
And truthfully, the process of it is, the last day of tryouts, we call each individual in to let them know if they've made the team or if they didn't make the team. So in that little meeting, we kind of start our role meetings in a way. So a kid makes the team. Here's what we envision for you. Here's what we think's gonna happen. And we emphasize, just because I'm saying that now doesn't mean this is what it's gonna be for the year. Right? We know, being coaches, that there's ups and downs. There's kids that step up and they prove to you that they can do certain things or do different things out there on the court, and it leads to more freedom or more trust out there, where it's like, okay, let's do it. So roles can change, but it's just a process of going through those things. But as far as parents go and having them there, listen, we're coaching 17, 18-year-old kids. They should be able to communicate those things to their parents. Doesn't mean it's going to be communicated perfectly, but a lot of the times, and obviously there's accountability on my end too. Maybe I can do a better job of communicating. A lot of the times, though, when you do end up meeting with a parent, my communication is, no, we have had that conversation with so-and-so about that. Here's what I said. They were in the room. And they go, oh, well, that was never communicated to us. So at least for me, I know on my end, like I communicated it with the player. And to be honest with you, I do think these kids are adults. They need to have adult conversations, right? We shouldn't need their parents in the room every time we talk to them about shot selection or role on the team or what they did well or what they didn't do well. That's part of being on a team and being in a program and taking accountability.
Do you have any sort of like a parent policy around you're open for
Yeah.
meetings or what
Yeah.
you will or won't talk about?
Yeah, so first off, I never want to be that coach that's not approachable.
Yeah.
I always want to be approachable by my parents, by my players, managers, people in the program. I always want to be approachable, for sure I do. We do have some rules, like number one, we're never going to talk about someone else's kid in the program. So if you want to come in and say, well, why does Jordan Horsley get to shoot NBA threes, but my kid doesn't? We're not going to have those meetings. That's not what this is about, right? I'll have a meeting about your kid, about things that they can do better, things that will help them, right? Whatever that is. But let's just keep the focus on your kid. And then the other thing, if we're having a meeting, we will never talk about playing time. Okay. Playing time is just a coach's decision. And it's as simple as that. Playing time, it can vary every game. Right? There's some games where you get more. There's some games when you get less. For the most part, it usually stays the same, right? But it is a kind of an evolving thing throughout the season. But that's just something that the coaching staff gets to decide.
Yeah.
And we see them every day. We see them in practice. We see the adjustments they do or don't make during practice. We see them mess up on plays every now and then. We see them, kind of take on leadership roles and get people in the right spots. So playing time is usually a reflection of that. And then role, right? Going back to the role thing, we want our kids that we think help give us the best chance to win playing more.
Yeah.
And that's just as simple as it is. Your role doesn't define who you are. It's just what this team needs you to do to win.
No, that's great. And then you have a bunch of great returning players coming back.
Yeah.
So you were a young team this year and you accomplished a lot.
Yeah.
So what kind of expectations did that kind of set for you as the coach, but also your players, parents, program? Like, it feels like the expectations would be ramped up a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think things are ready to kind of just take off here, right? Number one, I think it started with our football season, truthfully. We had a new coach come in there as well, and they had just a heck of a season. They go to the Final Four, and then it just kind of steamrolls this thing into basketball season.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of extra excitement for basketball. We're shooting a lot of threes. Like it's a little bit, it's a fun brand to come watch and come see. So basketball season obviously is a success, and then being young obviously helps a ton.
Yeah.
We're bringing back Dylan Hatton. Dylan was obviously a third-team All-State player, which is awesome for us. Spencer Dow, our big center in the middle, is coming back, and he is just a monster on the glass. I think your guy, Applegarth, led 6A in rebounding.
Yeah.
I think Spencer was 2.
Spencer was 2, yeah.
If I remember right. And then Spencer was first in 6A in block shots.
Yeah.
So good things coming back with Spencer. And then Jordan Horsley's obviously back.
Yeah.
One of the best three-point shooters in the state. So expectations are high, truthfully. And we have some young guys that played on our JV team who were probably just like wondering why they weren't in the mix a little bit more in the varsity games. We had a JV kid average 20 points a game this year in JV, which I don't care what level you're playing at. If you're a freshman and you're averaging 20 in the freshman game, you're a good player, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to score.
Yeah.
So we have some pieces coming back, and obviously the expectations are high, and we're looking forward to it. And that's what you want, right? That's truthfully what you want. It's fun being the underdog and trying to knock someone off, but also if you're constantly that every single year, you're probably not in the position that you want to be in as a program and as a basketball coach who's in charge of that program.
Yeah.
You want to be one of those teams that people are coming back, like looking at you, where they got you checkmarked on the schedule, where they're looking forward to playing you and getting a win against you.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's what we are coming back. I think we're in the mix there with next season, with those kids that we have coming back and the pieces that we think we can put together. But it's a long season and a lot of things can happen. But the expectations are good to have. And that's truthfully what I would want as a coach.
Yeah. That's great. There's a couple of ways I want to go with this, and so I'm trying to figure out how to weave this in the best possible way. But so let's go with sticking with this season and what had kind of happened this season. How do you go about scouting other teams? We had a really tough region, I think.
Yeah.
Obviously,
we
the
did.
final 2 were in our region, and then in the semis there's teams from our region.
I think 4 of 8 were the final in the quarters, right?
Right.
Harriman, Mountain Ridge, Bingham, Westlake.
Yeah, so really good region. How do you go about scouting other teams? And then that last game where you play Bingham, it's a team where you've already played them twice, you've already split, it's at the U, it's a big moment, and you're a shot away from winning it. Like, how do you approach teams where it seems like they know what you're going to do, you know what they're going to do, and then just executing in that moment?
Yeah. So one thing about me and like my teams, and especially on the offensive end, like I'm a motion coach, where we run 5 motion pretty much, 5 or 4 motion, where we're spread out and we don't really run a ton of plays, right? Of course we have plays and we want to execute and get those things done. And maybe it's a little bit of a flaw of mine. So many coaches have so many good plays that they end up getting baskets on that help their team win. But I just think that when it comes down to big basketball, you can kind of scout an opponent to take them out of a play, to where I think with a motion style offense, when you get to those big games, you can definitely scout those teams. But also, if they're taught how to play the right way, then it's kind of reading and reacting when you're out there. So for us, that's one reason why I like a motion offense, because when it comes down to it, if someone's overplaying us, we should back cut. If someone's on our hip coming off the screen, we should curl. If someone jumps to the midline, we should flare, right? Those things, and it's all just kind of reading. So hopefully you have good players that are smart, that can understand that way to play, and hopefully it leads to success. But scouting an opponent, we obviously scout. Every team does it, and every team does a good job. When you look across, I just use the 6A level for an example, because that's what I'm involved in. There's not a bad coach out there, right? Every single 6A coach is going to have their team ready to play. They're going to scout. They're going to know your 2 or 3 plays that you run the most. They're going to know personnel, and that's what we do, right? Maybe I should put a little bit more time into it, but my main thing is that it's about us. It's not necessarily about them. Here's their key points. Here's some tendencies that their players like to do, and then here's their 2 or 3 plays that they seem to run more often than others. Yeah. But at the end of the day, a back screen's a back screen. A down screen's a down screen. A ball screen's a ball screen. Dribble handoff's a dribble handoff, right? Those are plays that are run every single time throughout a game. Yeah. And sometimes they're just ran in half-court sets. Sometimes they're ran in the flow of a semi-fast break. So it's about teaching. For me, it's about teaching those kids, like, here's the trigger points. Here's what they do on these certain plays. Yeah. But from that, like, here's where we got to be when this happens. Here's where we got to be when this happens. Ball screen today, we're switching. A ball screen, we're hedging. A ball screen, we're doing this. So it's more so of that rather than knowing every single play that they run. Yeah. For me.
And it's interesting as I talk to a bunch of coaches too around the scouting idea, to your point, some of them are just like, well, stop us. Like, I don't really care too much about knowing everything you're going to do. You got to figure out how to stop us. And they're really successful. There are other coaches that will know every play you're going to run. They know every call. They know every baseline out of bounds play. And they're successful. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of do it.
There's more than one way to win. Right?
Yeah.
There is. I've always said if you had 10 different coaches, that's probably going to be done 10 different ways. Right? That's no different with selecting a team, with offensive strategy, defensive strategy. There's more than one way to win. And it just comes down to your players executing. Truthfully, Riverton with Lance, you guys run a lot of plays. You have a lot of really, really good sets. There is no point for me to run through or try to work through film for 10 hours trying to know exactly what plays coming here. Right? If this player is in this area, most likely something's coming for him. A pin down, a double down screen, something. If their best player is isolated on the wing, not involved in the play, right, and they got 4 other guys on the opposite side of the court, a back cut's probably coming. Right? Other teams want their better players to have the basketball, and they run plays for those players as well. So it's more trigger points on where they're at.
Yeah, no, I love that. You had mentioned selecting a team. So there we have a question from Jack and Cheese 13. What are you looking for in players? And I want to take that to tryouts. So what can kids coming into your program expect from tryouts? And then what are you looking for in tryouts to fill the roles that we've kind of already talked about?
So our tryouts are very, very simple, right? Day 1 and day 2, we do a lot of passing, catching, communication, full court dribbling, outlets to layups. We watch them run the floor, and then we play 5-on-5. That's what we do. We spend the first 15 to 25-ish minutes doing some of those drills that I just talked about, where we can see them in a little bit of a different setting other than just 5-on-5. But at the end of the day, we play 5-on-5 when the ball's tipped up and when we take the court. So that's what we like to watch them do. I'm not necessarily watching to see how many three-pointers they make or how many points they score.
Yeah.
I'm watching, do they understand how to play? Are they catching every time and trying to score? Mm-hmm. Are they catching every time and shooting kind of bad shots? Or are they willing to make that extra pass? Are they willing to come off a screen, go one more, and then go down screen on certain things?
Yeah.
So it's just watching them play.
Yeah.
And then as we get into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, that's when more drills start to come in, right? Mm-hmm. Where we put a couple very simple, very basic plays in, and we go skeleton up and down, and we see how they take learning a new play, mm-hmm. and are they coachable? If they do something wrong, can they make those adjustments?
Yeah.
So our tryouts are very, very simple. And like I said, we're not looking to see how many points you score. I get a kick out of it. Every single time a kid scores in tryouts, you've probably seen this, they look over to see if we were watching.
Yeah.
Right? Every single time.
Yeah.
And we are, obviously, but it's more how they play, right? Are they good communicators? Do they try to help their teammates out? Are they someone that their teammates want to take the floor with?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Those are things.
Are there any phrases or terminology that you would use in tryouts that a kid should probably know outside of just dribble, pass, catch, shoot?
I think jump stops are huge, right? I'm constantly talking to kids, do not jump while you pass the basketball. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that's going to happen, but so much of it now is 2 feet in the paint, 2 feet in the paint, 2 feet in the paint, right?
Yeah.
I would rather you get 2 feet in the paint, come to a jump stop, look to pass or look to have one of those little 8-foot jumpers, as opposed to going in there and all crazy and having some crazy finish or making some turnover. So jump stops. I love jump stops, and so many kids don't know how to jump stop. Yeah. We do a little full court dribbling drill where we're working on jump stops, and so many times out of that jump stop they take a negative step or they're traveling right? I don't necessarily know if there's any phrases or terminology that they should know, mm-hmm. but that thing right there, just playing under control, shows a lot.
That's great. Once they've made the team now, what do practices tend to look like? How do you balance skill work versus team concepts and conditioning and all of that stuff? What does a typical Mountain Ridge practice look like? Or maybe over the week, what are you looking at?
Yeah, so early on, there's so many team things that we need to put in that there's not a lot of time for skill development. I've always thought that high school practice is more of a team practice and a club practice is more of skill development, working on your game, trying to improve, where your team strategy kind of takes a little bit of a backseat to that. Mm-hmm. But to where we have 18 guys in here, mm-hmm. and we only have so long. Tryouts are a week. Yeah. Usually a week. And then our first game next year is November 20th.
Yeah. Wow.
So if tryouts get done on the 13th, we turn around and we have a basketball game 7 days later.
Yeah. So
much of it is implementing team stuff, defensive strategy, offensive strategy, working through those things, trying to teach them how to play. Pre-game warm-ups. Yeah. Right? Those are things that we need to practice, and they need to be done the right way, so it's not just some casual roll the balls out, go warm up, and go from there. Our jump circle, right? Those are team things that we need to practice and get ready for before that first game. So early on, it's a lot of team development stuff. Yeah. I would say once we hit league play, it starts to change to where the first half of practice is more of us. The second half of practice is a little bit of them, and then we work in about 30 minutes of skill work where we split guards and posts. We do a lot of shooting. We're doing a lot of ball handling because at that point in the season, you can definitely continue to get better, right? Every team can continue to get better. But by the time February rolls around, you kind of are who you are, right? From a team standpoint. So let's start to get better at skill work, right? Let's become a better individual basketball player. Then that way, when the game gets going, we have our team strategy stuff, but we feel like we're helping them with certain individual things to help them score. we're noticing this in a game, that someone's trying to force you to your right hand this whole time, right? Well, let's work on getting a little bit better right hand. Let's work on right-handed finishes for the next 20 to 30 minutes with all of our guards.
Yeah.
We notice that people are collapsing on us big time during games. Well, with our guards, we're jump stopping in the paint and looking for kicks, eyes up, looking for kicks. So it kind of changes a little bit, right? Or we notice, people are coming to double dow. So we're working on other little things and what individual post moves or what the post players can look for when that does happen. So it kind of evolves throughout the season, where your first half of the season, it's more team emphasis. Second half of the season, we're into our scouting reports and game plans, and then skill development.
How do you pick captains? What does that process look like?
Team captains. So we let the players vote.
Okay.
And I would say, and the coaches get a vote as well.
Okay.
We do the 3-2-1 method, to where the person you have listed first gets 3 points, the person you have listed second gets 2, and the person you have listed third gets 1.
Okay.
So you add up those scores, and then those are our team captains. Like I said, coaches have a vote, and coaches do have a say.
Yeah.
If there's a kid that for some reason is voted team captain that has no business being voted a team captain, the coaches kind of can get involved in that and be like, what happened here?
Yeah.
Why did that happen? And then they can make adjustments if they need. But I would say 99% of the time, team captains come back the way I think that if it were up to me and the choice was just up to me, I'd say 99% of the time it comes back that way anyway.
Yeah.
So that's why we give our kids a little bit of a say. It can be a senior, a junior, a sophomore, whoever's involved in that JV practice. There's no like restrictions on it's got to be seniors only or juniors only or one from each age group. It's just kind of voted on by peers and coaches, and then the captains are named. So
nice.
Simple process. And same thing, I think if you had 10 coaches, you'd probably have 10 different ways.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's no right way to do it. There's no wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
It's just the way that we've done it.
Do you have any game day traditions as a team, but also you personally?
Not yet. I'm still. I was thinking about this one a little bit, and I don't yet. Right. Obviously, I'm here the whole night on home games. I watch the sophomore game first. I watch the JV game second. I guess a little tradition that I've started to do is I don't get dressed in my clothes for the game day clothes for the varsity game until after the JV game.
Okay.
I don't know why. I just kind of keep it a little bit more casual. I help set up the snack bar, help our booster parents with certain little things that need to be done. And then I sit down and I watch the games.
Yeah.
And then after that JV game, I go change, and then we go from there. But, still being early in my career, trying to figure those things out a little bit.
Do you have any rules around what they can wear, shoes, socks, all that stuff?
Yeah. So I'm probably in the minority here. I like the look of it. I like the look of team shoes.
Yeah.
I do give our seniors the option to pick which one. So I'll give them about 5 shoes that we have options, and they get to pick those.
Yeah. When you say you have options, is that going through a vendor?
So through our vendor, through our vendor. So this year we were Nike, so they had we wore the Ja Morants this year.
Yeah.
They had the Jaws, the Sabrinas, the KDs, and they had one more option to choose from, and those are the ones that they chose.
Okay.
They get to pick the color. Now the color does kind of need to match our uniform, a school color, but that's something that I do like the look of it. I just think it looks classy, it looks good. I don't think it affects the way they play, right? If we had situations where a certain kid needed to wear a certain shoe, we would definitely do that and make that adjustment for that kid, just as long as it kind of looked similar and kind of matched the color. Yeah. It's just not for me. I don't like when, my team's red, gray, and white. I don't want them wearing a green shoe for that game. But that's just me. It doesn't mean that anyone's wrong for doing that, obviously. There's a lot of really, really good coaches out there that let their kids wear whatever shoe that they want. Yeah. So we do that, and then their socks got to be matching while they're out there as well.
Matching the color of the shoe?
No, just we have a team sock, so right, like tonight we're wearing white socks, tonight we're wearing black socks, tonight we're just to keep it simple.
What about like headbands, wristbands, arm sleeves? That.
Yes and no. I think it depends a little bit, right? I don't care if a kid wears long sleeves while they're playing. I don't care if they wear short sleeves while they're playing. Obviously, the leggings have become a big thing with, going kind of past their shorts a little bit. I'm good on all those as well. A headband come talk to me. Let me know why or what your thinking is about it. I don't want you just showing up out there with a headband. Doesn't mean I'm going to tell you no. If that's something that you want to wear and something that you want to do, then I probably will let you do that. Same thing. Should be school colors and all that. It's something that I became a little bit more relaxed on. And since I've taken over, it's something that the kids have kind of got to show their personality just a little bit more, right? We've had a couple kids that they like to take off their shooting shirt during pregame warm-ups. That's something I think 10 years ago I probably would have said no, but now I'm like, what do I care, right? If they don't want to have their shooting shirt on while they warm up, they can be in their game uniform warming up and get ready to go. So I think as time's gone on, I've been less strict, I would say, about that stuff.
That's awesome.
So,
do you have any coachisms that you find yourself repeating often?
So when I was in high school, Coach Briggs made us read the John Wooden book.
Okay, yeah.
And one phrase that has always stuck with me from that book and from him, and then it's just stayed with me throughout my career, is be quick but don't hurry.
Yeah.
Probably not the best quote, right? It's not the most exciting quote, but so many high school athletes, they are sped up. I always think that the smarter team wins out there, and I think that's a perfect quote for it.
Yeah.
Be quick but don't hurry. We've got to be able to physically play fast, but in our heads, slow the game down.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot, like in practice. Like, be quick, but don't hurry. Be quick, but don't hurry. Look, we just shot that shot. There's 27 seconds left on the shot clock. We can get that same shot with 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Right? So, and that's kind of the process when we talk about that with shot selection and things happening. You can't just tell them, don't shoot that shot. Right? You got to give them a why. We've got to slow the game down a little bit. Here's the situation. Here's what we got. We can get that shot pretty much whenever.
Yeah.
Right? Trust that the ball is going to get back to you.
Well, and one of the things, like I have my son that I coach through things, or the high schools, is that be quick but don't hurry. It seems like so often as you watch them practicing on their own, on a gun or whatever else, they're catching, they're taking all this time, and then they're shooting in this very controlled environment. And in a game, that just doesn't happen. Like as I was playing, I don't remember ever just being standing, catch, shoot. You're moving, something's going on. So we try to like make it uncomfortably fast in practice so that it does slow down in the game and become easier for everybody involved.
Yep, 100%. That's perfect. You know, the shooting guns, I love them. But I also feel like if you spend too much time on them, you do start to slow down a little bit, right? I think it's great for repetition, kind of figuring out your shot and stuff like that. But I've always loved having 2 or 3 players with you, and rebounding and passing and being able to catch on the move a little bit. I think it's more game repetition stuff, which obviously translates better. You can never replace game reps. You can't do that, and it's really, really hard to simulate that in practice. But I totally agree with that you need to speed it up in practice with those reps as well.
Yeah. You're a coach. You were also a player. Do you ever get in and play with the guys?
I used to, but not anymore. Nope, not anymore. They would, I think 2 or 3 up downs would, I'd be out of there. So I think if we were playing a 2-minute game, let's go. And that's the thing that our coaching staff always jokes about our kids with, like, if this were a 2-minute game, you guys would be in trouble, right, with us. But obviously it's not that way. You know, and truthfully, just as I'm not too old. I'm 34, right? Like I'm still pretty active. I mean, I play in a men's league with my friends, and I play slow pitch softball, and that's not anything as physically challenging as what these kids do. But they're so good now, truthfully too, that they getting in. I don't know how fun it would be. So it's not for me right now. Now, any shooting competition that we do, we hop in, right? But if it involves running up and down, we're out. We're out. We'll take a pass on that one.
No, that's how I am too. Like I was a guard, but now that I'm older, we'll say, heavier. And so our school and our kids are not the biggest. Like we seem to be undersized pretty often. So I'll get in there every once in a while to try to simulate a Dow or something like that, where I can just throw my weight around. But it's like, if I go up and down 2 to 4 times, like I can't breathe anymore. And we're
I mean, so in drills and stuff, we'll get the pads out and we'll be, and one of our coaches, Coach Hawker, he'll just be winded after it. And it's pretty funny. The kids will make fun of him. I don't want to give them something to make fun of me about. So that's part of it too. But I'm sure you're the same. Like any shooting drill, let's go.
Yeah,
Like let's do it.
Yeah.
We do a little partner shooting game to start practice quite a bit, and we have coaches on one hoop, and it's a winners up, losers down, and coaches usually end up winning that one.
That's nice.
So it's good.
Yeah, as long as we don't have to move.
Yeah.
What about, you've mentioned a couple of times your staff. So one, how do you pick your staff?
Mm-hmm.
And then two, what roles and responsibilities do you delegate to them?
Yeah. So going back to the, coming up from JV now to the varsity, I would actually say that was one of my challenges is coaching staff. And it's not due to people not wanting to help. It's actually the opposite. You get so many calls and so many people that want to help and want to be involved, but they just don't know the schedule of it, truthfully.
Yeah.
To be involved in the JV and varsity practice, every other day you've got to be able to be here at 1:15, right? Yeah. And there's obviously special circumstances and times when you need to miss or be late and that. And I'm totally willing to work with coaches and have those things happen. But for the most part, if we're asking the kids to be here, then the coaches need to be here and have that same standard. So number one, that was really, really hard to find people who could be here during those athletics practices that start at 1:15. But then the other hard part was everyone that would reach out, they only wanted to be involved in JV and varsity. And there's only so many people that we can have up there, right? So with my staff, we had 3 people up with the JV and varsity, and then we had 3 people down with the sophomore and freshman. And the issue that I ran into is these people were so excited to help out and wanted to be involved, and I'd be like, hey, here's what I have for you. Here's what your role would be. You're going to be the head sophomore coach. You're going to be running your own practice, kind of doing your own thing. Practices start at this time and going through that. And they'd come back and be like, well, I only want to be involved in the JV and varsity. And it's like, I understand where you're coming from for sure. But also, this is your first year coaching. You kind of need to prove those things a little bit. And not everyone is my same situation, but when I first started coaching, I was the sophomore assistant for a year or 2. Then I was the head sophomore coach for 3 or 4 years. Then I was the JV coach for 7 years, and then obviously now I'm a varsity coach. And not everyone wants to take that path for sure, but it is so good for you for coaches to be running your own practice and coaching your own team at the sophomore level. And then you're like, okay, now I'm ready to come up. Like, can we make a spot or can we get a spot? So I had that happen early on, but then obviously things fell into place and we got it going. For me, I would rather kids be coached by good people than the best basketball coaches out there. And I truly believe that's what we found here at Mountain Ridge High School. Our young coaches they love basketball. They know basketball. They're good at teaching basketball, but they're good people to be around. And if I were sending my kids to be coached by them, that's what I'd want. That's what we have. And then up at the JV and varsity level, we got obviously really good coaches, a former player, Merrick Sherwood, and then another not former player, but played for Coach Briggs. 2003, Mike Hawker graduated from West Jordan High. I have great coaches, and the one thing about those two and my whole coaching staff that I really, really like is they're not yes men. So I think that's so important when hiring coaches is that they've got to be able to tell you as the varsity coach, like, hey, this isn't working. Like, we need to change this. Or, hey, what about this? Like we should go with this or put this player in or do this. But then on the other side, if I tell them no, they got to be good with it as well. Like, okay, that's what coach decided to do. We're going with it. And then we have each other's backs. You don't want someone just to tell you what you want to hear, but then if you don't go with what they're saying, they've got to be on board with that as well. And I think we found a good mix of that. I always think it's better to hire former players, right? They just kind of know the standard. They know what you're looking for. They know the expectations and all of that. And I look at kind of me and my history and my coaching tree that I've had, and that's what Coach Briggs always did. When I played, we were loaded with coaches. So Coach Briggs was the varsity coach. Coach Jamron was the JV coach who was...
His son played with me.
Yep, Kenneth. Kenneth, yep. So we had Kevin, and then the JV assistant coach was Andrew Blanchard, and Andrew is just a heck of a basketball coach. And then the sophomore coach was Brian Alfrey, who's the head coach at Copper Hills. And then the assistant sophomore coach was Casey Walkenhurst, who is the head coach at Farmington High School.
Yeah.
So when you look at that coaching staff, 4 of them are head coaches.
Yeah.
And they were all former players of Coach Briggs, and they were coming back, and they just knew the standard.
Yeah.
So it was important.
That's awesome. How do you, I want to go back to them not being yes men. How do you identify maybe your own blind spots to where they're trying to say something and you maybe disagree? Is it an immediate no, conversation's over? Or what is the appropriate way to kind of bring up, hey, you might be missing this?
Yeah, so I think one thing for me is I get stuck in my ways. Like we're playing man to man. Like, okay, and we're kind of getting beat on it a little bit. And then one of them will say like, hey, like let's look to zone, like switch it up a little bit. And for me, I'm like, no, they got to figure it out. Like they've got to figure it out there. We can't just bail them out by going to a zone and this and that. And so obviously, like you said, if I decided to stay to man, they're good with it. But then I think those conversations happen in between quarters, halftime, and especially after the games, to where they are okay bringing it up again. Like, hey, coach, during this situation, look, we should have gone zone here. Yeah. And then you can talk about those things and just communicate. And then the next game, we probably don't let that happen a little bit. Yeah. Going into this game, we're starting man. Don't let me go man to man too long, right? Like, come grab me. Like, come tell me, hey, before the game, you said we're not going to go man to man too long. Like, let's make an adjustment. Yeah. So those conversations just happen mostly behind closed doors, in between quarters. I'm sure everyone wonders what coaches talk about during that little 10 seconds of a timeout right there. Yeah. A lot of the times it's that. It's like, hey, we've got to adjust to this, or I know you said no, but we've got to move back to this, or go here, or this person needs to get in, or need to look for this. So it's just building that trust within your coaching staff. For me, Merrick and Mike Hawker were here while I was the JV coach. Yeah. So they were the sophomore and freshman coaches while I was the JV coach. So there is that trust there and that kind of expectation where they know how it works and how things happen.
That's great. And you mentioned like the time, not just for the assistants, but for you. And this last year was my first year as an official coach. And that's what blew me away is the amount of time. And it wasn't even just showing up here at 1:15. It was after games where I can't shut my mind off of like, what if we did this, or what if we made this decision, and then watching the film back and trying to find things like the time that goes into it outside of even the formal game practice time is exhausting.
So I keep going back to Evan's question about JV to varsity, but that's a big thing as well. As an assistant, I could shut my mind off way easier to where at being the varsity coach, just not the way it works, right? Yeah. And that comes with the position, obviously, because now you're in charge. You're the one kind of making all the calls on everything. I remember as an assistant coach, I'd be like, let's go zone, or switch the ball screen, or just do this, just put so-and-so on them, and they're good suggestions, but also now being in the other seat over, like they're still good suggestions, but then you start thinking of, well, if we do that, then this is going to happen. If we do, if we switch the ball screen, then they're going to go, the mismatch is going to be there. If they're going to do this, then this is going to happen. Yeah. So you kind of forget that a little bit, truthfully. That's why kind of being an assistant coach is fun. Yeah. None of the weight's on your shoulders after it's all said and done. But the time commitment and just being there and shutting your mind off and all the things that happen after, it's just, there's so much more time that goes into it. One of our assistant coaches, his brother was talking to him and goes, well, like, you guys get paid pretty good, don't you? And he just kind of laughed and he goes, no. And then I actually went up to his brother and I go, how much do you think we get paid for this? And he goes, $40,000. Oh. And I go, not even close. So that's fun. Yeah. And I didn't even tell him what it is. And there's no point to, because that's not why we're doing this. Right. Obviously, it's fun. We want to be there for kids and kind of put our mark on Mountain Ridge basketball and the kids and be someone that they can look up to. It's not for money or anything like that, but it's just kind of funny, the misconceptions that are out there. Yeah,
and I remember talking to Alfrey in his interview about that change from JV to varsity, and he had mentioned that when he was the JV coach, it was always like, all right, the games, we're up by 15. There's 2 minutes left. Let's get our JV guys in, or let's get the younger guys in. And he's like, when I became the head coach, especially in the 3-ball era, it's like, I feel like I never feel like our lead is safe. And so I hesitate to put other guys in quite as quickly.
Totally, 100%. And it's like, honestly, like being the varsity coach, you can't take a moment for granted.
Yeah.
You're like, you can't let something slip up. And I had that exact same situation where Coach Hawker's like, get him in, like, let's go. And I'm like, we're up 16, like there's 45 seconds left, like, are we sure?
Yeah, what if?
And he goes, come on, like, let's go, so it's just different perspectives, like, truthfully.
Let me kind of go over to this side too. When we talk about all this time and all this stuff here, what do you like outside of basketball and coaching and teaching? And let's take that initially to the family life, because the wives and kids of coaches they're in it too. So take me through kind of the family life. What does that look like? And then what other things do you like outside of basketball?
So family life, like my family is so supportive, right? Like my mom and dad didn't miss a game this year. My wife didn't miss a game this year. And then my wife's parents didn't miss a game this year, right? My wife does a lot, right? Like she's at home with 4 kids, 4 kids under 6.
Wow.
So she's very busy. We've got a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and then a newborn. So we had she had the baby October 17th. So right before the season started. And, obviously I couldn't do this without her, right? Without her having help from family members and all that. And I think that's why her in-laws come to games, not even to watch our basketball team. They probably just come to help her with the kids so she can watch the games. If she didn't have a sports background, I just don't think it'd be doable with the type of schedule that it requires, because she understands. She was a softball player, a volleyball player. She played basketball for a year or 2 at high school. So she gets the expectations, right? She gets that coaches need to be there and film work needs to be done. There needs to be extra stuff after practice. There's coaches meetings and there's this, there's that. There's all sorts of things that go on. So I'm very, very fortunate to have her understand that. Doesn't mean that there aren't frustrating times, because there just are, right? Being at home with 4 kids is a lot, and it comes with a lot, and even when I go home, it doesn't end. Because I'm watching film, right? And trying to put the kids to bed early so I can watch film and do all this and do all that to get her a little bit of a break. But I don't think a lot of people understand, like, truly how hard it is. And that's not me trying to sit here being like, oh, you need to understand how hard it is for coaches, because that's not what I want either. Like, I put myself in this position. I want to be a coach. I want to be here. I want to spend that time with these kids and with this program. So that's not what I'm trying to say, but I do think we lose sight of really what coaches are doing and how much they're helping kids out and how much their families are helping out. Because it's a lot.
Yeah, I think for sure I agree with that, because I've talked to some people about how this year was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life, of being able to help kids and their parents and the program, and even helping the head coach and all of that. But it was also one of the most exhausting years of my life, of just trying to balance it all. So that's crazy. What about outside of basketball? What do you like outside of maybe even sports? We love to travel, right? We love to travel. We love putting our kids in the van and hitting the road, right? Spring break, we're headed to Mesquite for no apparent reason. I know it's good weather here, but we're just trying to go somewhere and have a different scene, wake up somewhere different, and let our kids swim in the pool. So we love to travel. We've spoiled my oldest. She's been to Disneyland quite a bit, which obviously, not a lot of kids and not a lot of people get to go there as often as we have. But she's been with her grandma a couple times. We've been multiple times. We're a Disney family. I know those families are out there, so we got that. But we're active. We love playing sports. I still play a little bit of basketball. I play some slow pitch softball. But a lot of the time is coaching kind of spring and summer basketball, which is fun for me though. Right? I bring my kids to that as well. We went down to Utah Tech and played in their week-long tournament, and my wife was there and all my kids were there, and it's a little bit of a vacation for them too. And I get to go enjoy basketball. Because it's a little bit of a break. It's a different setting from home.
you get to meet the families and meet the kids in just a different setting and get to know them a little bit better.
What's a hidden talent that people wouldn't know you have that you're oddly good at?
Mario Kart.
All right.
Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Good luck beating me on Rainbow Road.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
So no, I like Mario Kart. It's funny. I joke with my 6-year-old that she can't beat me yet. So, but
That's
she's
awesome.
6. So that's one in our game program. We actually have that question. What's a hidden talent or what's something? And I always say Mario Kart.
That's fun.
Yeah.
This is a question from the internet. So at Mr. Morgan25, Steve Morgan, who actually went to my school.
Yep.
Ask Dre about his AAU days, basketball and baseball. I need his favorite Sluga memory.
Yeah, Sluga. So that's part of that coaching tree. So I played for Brandon Sluga, who's the head coach at Hillcrest, and then his dad, George, who obviously George is such a legend in high school sports and at Bingham High School. But I remember George Sluga. So he would just say what was on his mind, for sure. And we were a bunch of 7th and 8th graders in the gym. We had a really, really good team. We had, Steve, myself. We had a bunch of really, really good Olympus basketball players with Joey Bourne and Will Watkins and Shad Somerville, Ben Clifford at Bingham High School. But I just remember when he kept tabs on us. We're all going to high school. And he would call us and ask us what team that we made. Mm-hmm. And I go, well, I made the JV and varsity. I'm still playing sophomore basketball. Like, that's my main team, but I'm just up in the practice with JV and varsity. Mm-hmm. I get to sit on the bench during the JV games and the varsity games and be in the locker room and all that. And he goes, you're up there with JV and varsity? And I go, yeah, I'm up there, like JV and varsity. And it's 100% was out of love. Like, it wasn't like a slap in the face or anything. But I just remember, like, that moment, I was like, yeah, I am up here. Like, we and a lot of it was him because he was my trainer, him and Brandon. Yeah. That's who I'd go to for my basketball workouts and my basketball lessons. And he coached that team. And so, he ends the conversation and just goes, well, we'll be there to watch you. And he came to, like, 3 or 4 of my basketball games. And it just kind of was a cool moment because they didn't play much on that team.
Yeah.
There were players who were better than me at that time during – when we had those teams. And so that's what I'm talking about. I've been in certain situations similar to some of these kids where I'd go to games and I didn't play a lot. Yeah. I'd get a minute or two here, there in the first half, a minute or two here, there. But it was such a competitive environment that me and my family felt like it was worth it for me to be there and continue to go to practices and all that. And it definitely helped my basketball career. It just was one of those moments where I'm like, yeah, I kind of hopped up a little bit and started to put things together.
That's cool.
So yeah.
Steve also asks the best pure point guard: Shad or Jordy, Dre, or Steve?
Yeah, that was a good year for high school point guards. You probably have to say Jordy. His team won it. Alta won it that year in 2010. Shad Somerville was the point guard at Bingham at that time, and obviously Shad was really, really good. And then I played at West Jordan, and Steve played at Jordan. So they're all a really good group, but Jordy's team ended up winning it. I think Shad and them, Bingham lost in can't remember if it was the quarters or semis, and then we lost in the quarterfinals, and so probably Jordy.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that Alta team was pretty good.
Yeah.
That year.
I kind of end this similarly, and you've kind of outlined what you would have done different from a coaching perspective in your first year, so I want to flip it over to more of like the kids' perspective. So if you were counseling upcoming freshmen coming into your program, or maybe even your seniors who have graduated, if you were asked them, what advice would you give to those upcoming freshmen from your perspective now of how to approach their life as a high school basketball player?
So some advice I would give freshmen is, like, number one, everyone is not the same. You can still have a huge impact on a program and have a huge impact on your career, just even simply playing at level, right? Today, I think in sports, so much of it is now, right? Like, I want this success now. I want it now. I see that so-and-so is a freshman starting varsity. Like, that should be me, or why can't that be me? But everyone's circumstance is just different, right? Some kids, it takes them, they're an at-level player where as a freshman, they play freshman basketball. As a sophomore, they play sophomore basketball. As a junior, they play JV basketball. And then as a senior, they have an impact at the varsity level. Others are ready to go when they're a freshman, right? So just be patient. Just be patient, right? And I promise you, coaches have the best interest for you, right? They truly do. I can't sit here and think of one kid in my coaching career, and obviously it's a little bit different this year with taking over the varsity program, but even being an assistant coach, never one time have I been, or a coach that I know has said like, we're going to keep them down at the freshman or sophomore level because it's going to hurt their development because, we don't want them up there. That's not the case. It's just so different for everyone. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Maybe you haven't hit that growth spurt yet. Maybe you just haven't been able to put both together, being out there on the court and having all the skills needed to put together the complete package. It just takes a little bit of time. Some of these kids are freshmen and they have size 14 shoe, right? And they're still 5'10".
Yeah.
Like you're gonna grow. Your body's just in a place right now where this is what's best for you, right? And it's what's best for the program. So don't take it as a slap in the face. Don't take it as we don't think you're a good player. We have the best interest of every single individual who makes our team. We want what's best for them.
Yeah.
And if what's best for you is to play on the freshman team that year, then that's great. If it's best for you to be a sophomore-only player as a freshman, well, that's what we're going to end up doing.
Yeah.
But just be patient with things because it usually ends up working itself out.
That's awesome. I started this before I was a coach, and now I'm in it. And so it's such a unique opportunity and experience to be able to talk with coaches that we coach against and to kind of like being here on this floor in a big game. And it's just really neat. So thank you for being a coach again, now that I see the behind the scenes work that goes into it that you do. And thank you for your example to the kids and the caring and the parents and the program and your administrators. And there's so many people that are involved in such a small moment in time with a small group of people. So
totally. And thank you for sure, because I was watching, I think it was on your TikTok, Chris Jones's interview, and right after that I wrote you and I go, this is so cool. I don't even know if you remember that or not, right? I think it was like in May or June. I think I'd kind of just taken the program over, and I go, I'm the head coach at Mountain Ridge now. I just wanted to say, like, this is such a cool thing. So I think what you're doing is awesome. I think it gives people a different perspective. And truthfully, I think it gives parents a different perspective, which is great.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because so many times players and parents or people from the outside, they only get to see one version of the coach, and that's the game night version or the parent meeting coach, right? Where you're just going through things. So I appreciate you and what you're doing and taking the time to be here and interview all these other coaches. And it helps coaches too, because there's so many different perspectives out there and different ways to go about things, whether it's tryouts, cuts, game decisions, offensive strategy, defensive strategy. So I know I've tuned into your things and got a little bit of everyone that you've had on. So it's helped me as well.
Well, you're great. Well, thank you. Thank you for taking this time. And then, I genuinely, when I do these, I hope that they help the kids. I told you before, my son, I want him to learn from good coaches. Yeah. I hope that they help the parents to get to know you a little bit better. I hope that it helps your administrators and other coaches who are having the same questions that I think that you struggle with or that you have to tackle too. So you're great. And we look forward to this next season.
Cool. Thanks, Eric. Yep.